police. They fluoridate the water when they say it's for your teeth. They calling for the murder of the rights of free speech. Cease and desist because the system.
Keep in mind that the upper limits of water fluoridation are set, so they're safe for children. Personally, I live in Ward 1, I drink Hamilton water and I give it to my children every day.
And thank you for that question, and even including all of the sources of fluoride that our children would get, so including, the minimal use of toothpaste and other fluoride applications in the dental office, the answer is categorically yes.
Okay, and I appreciate that answer. My grandson, he's having that problem. Fluoride. So with all the fluoride that's put into toothpaste, mouthwashes, anything, or drinking water, can a person be over-intoxicated with fluoride, or baby food, or whatever?
I believe it's table 1 in the report actually goes through how much fluoride how much water you would need to ingest in order to experience toxic effects. Usually, if you wanted to get so water fluorosis does occur in mild modeling teeth. In Hamilton, it occurs something in the range of 2 to 5% of kids per year have white spots that, again, you or I probably wouldn't notice given we don't have dental training. There's virtually no severe dental fluorosis from reading a report from the Chief Dental Officer of Canada. In Canada, there's virtually no severe, moderate or severe dental fluorosis that is caused by water fluoridation. Most of the cases are related to other exposures, not in the water. So in order, for example, if you wanted to get severe effects of water fluoridation, you'd have to drink in one sitting enough water that would cause you to have health problems from other things like washing out the sodium gradient in your brain from drinking 20 liters of water a day, that sort of thing. So again, dental fluorosis is a known side effect of water, fluoride in the water. Beyond that, toxic effects don't occur at water fluoridation pools.
Okay, and one last question for you, Mr. Mayor, is through the much information we're having, I guess what was concerning that I've noticed a lot of communities across Canada, Ontario, have stopped putting fluoride in the water. And I just want to know, could you give me a reasoning for that? Why is it they're stopping, but we're being encouraged to use it?
Sure. Most of the communities are far enough outside of our jurisdiction that we don't have great insights. So, the most that we'll be able to identify in most places is that political decisions are made, and usually in the absence of advice from public health. An example would be the city of Calgary. Calgary discontinued water fluoridation early 2011, and Calgary doesn't have a board of health. They don't have any health advice in the city of Calgary. Researchers at the University of Calgary who have relevant background offered to give the City Council in Calgary advice on water fluoride, and the City Councilors declined, saying that they would review the medical literature themselves. So, there's no public health body across the country that is saying it's time to take fluoride out of the water. It's political decisions that happen. And again, not the question of political process. People make decisions for all sorts of reasons, but it's not based on health.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do have one last question that when I went there, and I asked you yesterday, Dr. Mackey, so it concerns me, is because I hear today you're recommending to this council that we continue with fluoride in the water because it's a benefit to us.
There's no recommendation.
No, but through his information, Dr. Mackey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the information that we're showing is that for a third time we've reviewed the medical literature and it's showing that water fluoridation is safe and effective.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, so to you, Dr. Mackey, since we do fluoride our water in Hamilton, and Hamilton is a big city, but we don't use fluoride, fluoridated water in Carlisle, Milton, Greensville, and Linden. And I'm kind of concerned in saying, okay, we have it in Hamilton, but we don't have it in parts of Hamilton. And why would we not put it in there and continue, or why would we not just stop fluoride altogether? If it's no good for them, or if we don't have it for them, why would we want to have it for them?
Right. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the question is, why is there not water fluoride, fluoridated water in the smaller systems? My understanding, and I wasn't involved when those decisions were made, but that is largely due to the cost. Because Woodward is such a large system, the economies of scale are much greater than in the smaller communities. It would be possible to put water fluoride in those other communities, and if the board would like a recommendation on those, we'd be happy to do the analysis.
I believe Councillor Whitehead wishes to speak.
Just on that, I wouldn't mind, or I think Councillor Jackson's direction was to take a look at the cavity rates in those areas within our community that are not being fluoridated. Because you did mention BC, I think 80% is not fluoridated, and their cavity rates were on par with communities in Ontario that are fluoridated.
You have a question, Councillor?
So I try to understand that. Yeah, in the process, I did sit on an autism panel, and we did the same thing, looked at research and documentation, and discovers huge gaps in information. Through that process, we also had an ethicist that oversaw a lot of the work we did, and in fact, how we selected the I guess, documentation to arrive at our determinations. Can I ask Dr. King, was there an ethicist involved in this process that you arrived at?
Well, again, I think in terms of some of the specifics around the reviews that were done by Hamilton and those that have been done by the Government of Canada, they can tell you about who actually was sitting on some of their reviews. But I feel really very confident that the reviews have been done in a robust, ethical, and robust way to come to the conclusions that we've arrived at.
There wasn't an ethicist, or was? You don't have an ethicist?
I can't comment specifically on the disciplines that were on the review committees.
Okay, thank you. Now, just before we go on to presenters, I'm asking for a direction from Council as a request of our delegations 3 and 4, I believe, our representatives of Health Canada, Office of the Chief Dental Officer, and from the Royal College of Dental Surgeons of Ontario. And so Ron Yarskevich and Dr. Peter Cooney are with us, both doctors. And the hope is, in view of their schedule, that they could simply be moved up and speak now. Moved by Morelli, seconded by Barr. All in favor? Carried. So we'll move those two. It won't make much of a difference to the discussion, but it will allow them some time later. Just before we do take the first delegation, which will be Dr. Cooney, Mr. Clerk, what is this? This is a motion. You distributed this motion.
Yes, I was asked by Councilman Caddy to distribute that to members of the committee.
Is there a reason why we didn't get this prior in our agenda package?
It hasn't been.
So.
Let me see you walk 1,000 miles in these fucking shoes. Take a view from my perspective if you wanna get a clue. But if you want a fairy tale, go and watch the fucking news. Cause they'll never tell the truth about the power they abuse, and how the money and corruption are the tactics that they use.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.